What is up, Snarf Gang? It's your boy Snarf Brownie, and today we will be reviewing the Robin Tim Drake Compendium. Look at this Fatty McFatterson we have right here. This collects a lot of different things. I don't know, I can read you the exact stuff, but you can just read it right there. But all you need to know is this takes place right after Death in the Family. So, right after, spoiler alert, but Jason Todd's death, Tim Drake discovers Batman and Robin, the OG Dick Grayson Robin, from seeing the Flying Graysons when he was a kid and doing his own detective work. And because of that, he impresses Batman and eventually convinces him to let him become Robin. But Tim Drake, this is I think that one of the first arcs in this is already a banger because Jason Todd was just killed by the Joker, like literally right before this. And Robin is not that good at being Robin yet. And one of the things he has to do early on, while Batman is out of Gotham, the Joker breaks out of Arkham Asylum and is going on a crime spree. And he has to stop the Joker by himself right after Jason Todd was just murdered by him. Which is a really cool concept. And you get to see, how that goes. Let me show you guys some art from this because the art is great. The page count in this book is over 1,000. It took me a couple weeks to finish it. So, you also get to see Robin travel to Asia to learn martial arts. You get to see, there's a little bit of romance side plots with Robin, but to be honest, it's kind of just frustrating to see superhero relationships whenever they can't tell them about their secret identity. Because it's just never going to work out. Because they're always just missing out on commitments and stuff. And when you don't tell them you're a superhero, it's just like, it's never going to work out. The Obadiah Man arc in this book is also great. I'm not going to spoil too much about it. But let's just say Tim Drake gets his own little tragic backstory. He has multiple solo series, like mini-series in this. But it does also collect stuff that's happening in Detective Comics in between. And you also get to see what's happening with Robin during Nightfall, because I've read Nightfall before. I loved it. It's one of my favorite Batman stories. But after Azrael, kicks Robin out of the Bat cave and he's like choking him during that one scene, you get to see what Robin does in the meantime while Batman got his back broken and Azrael's taken over, which is really cool because you get to see more of the level-headed approach to fighting crime in Gotham, and it's very. I think that whole era was very cool because you got the more brutal Batman, you got the more cool-headed Robin. It kind of reminds me of Mello and that one other white-haired kid from the second part of Death Note. A lot of people hated that part of the story, but I actually really liked it. I liked those characters, and I liked the dynamic between Azrael and Robin. I also like how they gave Robin his own little rogues gallery of villains, and they didn't just rely on making him fight Batman villains. I thought that was a nice touch to the book. Gave it a little bit more of a Robin individuality to it, rather than him clinging to Batman so much. And I think that Nightfall especially really elevated that, because on the cover of Robin, the miniseries 1, he's just perched up in front of Batman, like, trying to look tough, but with Batman standing in the background, like, you can't be trying to look like the main character like that, because you're just going to look like a loser in comparison, especially since he's just some punk kid that hasn't really done shit yet at that point in the story. So him, like, trying to look all serious with the cowl and stuff, it's corny. I'm not going to lie. A few Catwoman issues are also collected in this, which Robin does appear in and play a role in, but the role he plays isn't massive. And he also has a team up with Huntress that's pretty cool if you like those characters. So just throwing that out there. And yeah, let me just go ahead and give this a writing and art rating. For writing, I'll give this an 8 out of 10. Good writing all the way through. It kept me engaged, and I was wanting to come back to it, so that's great. The art, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10 because the art's great throughout. One thing I will say is that sometimes Robin's face looks kind of weird, like Tim Drake's face when he doesn't have the mask on. There's one panel I remember in specific where he has a big ass forehead, and I don't know if I'm gonna flip through this entire thing to look for it because I don't even remember what it was on. But there's one panel where he's sitting in the back of the car. I don't even remember if he's monologuing or if he's just having like a thought process about some sort of case, but he has a big ass forehead in one of these panels. To be honest though, the panels where it's weird and the art does like look a little bit off, very few and far in between. That's like the only one I can even think of from this whole volume, and that's not like, it's not easy to do to be that consistent as an artist. So that I always love consistency in the art with these books. I would highly recommend this for anyone that's a fan of Robin, or if you I mean, honestly, I don't know if Batman fans would always necessarily like this because a lot of Batman fans like that edge that he has, and I feel like Robin doesn't really have that edge. He's more of a boy next door type of character. You know, he does his best and he tries to do what's right. Like, he's just like a positive guy. You know, he tries to be optimistic and stuff. But you know, the one thing I will say at the very start of this book, him always like talking about how like insecure he is about being Robin, it can get a little bit repetitive, but that's my only gripe with this entire thing. So if you haven't picked up the Robin Tim Drake compendium, I recommend it. Snarf out.